morning. I know I've told you guys that I'm going on vacation at the end of August, and I am, but we changed the kind of vacation that we're doing, and I've been planning on doing a lot of reading on this vacation, and I still am planning on doing a lot of reading, and that's where this video comes in. I want you to help me figure out what to read. But we are no longer going up to Utah to go fishing. We have decided that since we have Olive now, and she's settled in, but she still seems to have a lot of separation anxiety, and she just really panicked when we took her to the vet, and that's where she would be going if we were to board her while we were gone. And we just don't feel quite ready to leave her yet. We didn't realize when we started looking at dogs that we were going to find the dog for us that day. You know, I thought it would take months because before when we looked, it's just, nothing was clicking. So we've decided to do a staycation where we're gonna stay home and we can go do a bunch of the different things that we've always wanted to do here in Vegas and still have her here at home with us. And that way she doesn't have to go board yet. We're also working on getting her socialized. And if we get her socialized enough, she can go stay at more like a doggy hotel where she's got like her own little room with a bed and a TV and all that fun stuff. And she can play with dogs during the day. And that sounds a lot better to me than boarding. But we got to get her socialized first. She loves her crate. She's crate trained. She obviously was when we adopted her. So our plan is to have her be in the crate during the day when we're out doing our stuff. And then that way she's with us in the morning and at night. And I think that'll work out really well. And then I'm not so worried about her because I am worried about how she would react to being dropped off somewhere like that. Because she really seemed to think she was being taken back to the pound when we took her to the vet, and she was really upset and scared, and I thought, I don't want to do that to her. I don't want to torment her, and I don't want her to stay somewhere where dogs are just barking and miserable the whole time, which is what it sounded like at the vet. At least in a spa like that, or a doggy hotel. Everybody's playing all day, and then they're going in their rooms and sleeping at night. There's probably nowhere near as much barking. That was a really long way of talking about my trip. I'm not doing TBR videos, but because I'm more of a mood reader, and I grabbed a stack of books that have all been on my TBR shelves for quite a while now, but they all are very exciting books to me in one way or the other to read. So why I haven't got to them? Well, I guess the same reason I haven't got to every other book I own, right? I only have so much time. So I thought it might be fun to try a chapter, tell you what I think. There might be a few that I decide to donate and not even read at all. But of the ones that are left, I was going to ask you guys to vote on which one you thought I should read during this staycation. I can really tell you honestly what's going on and what I think of each chapter or each book, because I don't think that the first chapter of any book is going to be a spoiler. I also have to show you this new mug I got. Isn't this cute? Right before Hocus Pocus 2 comes out. I'm so excited for fall. It cannot come fast enough. This summer was too long for me. I have to be honest, out of all the seasons, summer is probably my least favorite one, which is why we left Florida. It was like summer all year long there, and maybe spring a few months of the year. But there was no fall and winter. Here in Vegas, I know I'm in the desert, but there is a definite fall and a definite winter. And it's so much more up my alley to be able to have all 4 seasons. If you hear a bunch of banging around, that is Olive. She's got a new toy and she's going nuts. So I'll try to put some video of her playing with it over here, but she's just been going nuts all over the living room and dining room and stuff. Okay, we have The White Magic 5 and Dime, a tarot mystery by Steve Hockensmith. And I think this is a cozy mystery. I had originally joined a book club when I got here and in Vegas. And when the lockdown started, they stopped meeting up. And this book was the last time they met up. I ordered this book, and already the shipping was really slow. And by the time I got this, everybody had already met and talked about the book. So I didn't even get to go to the last meeting before everything shut down. And I never got around to reading the book. In this book, a lady named Alanis learns that her mother, who she's estranged from, has passed away. And her mom left her a new age shop called which is called the White Magic 5 and Dime. And this is in Arizona, and it's in a tourist tract town. She gets there and she finds out that she thinks her mom was killed. And she thinks she might have been killed by somebody that frequents the New Age shop. So she decides that since it's her shop now, she's going to run it and start finding out who goes there and try to solve her mom's murder that way. Because she thinks all of this magical stuff is a bunch of hocus pocus, right? She decides to pretend to be into it. So she's reading books and reading tarot and pretending to be able to read tarot and trying to solve this murder at the same time. So it sounds like it might be a pretty fun book. Let's just say it wasn't pretty, which is Diane Keaton's memoir. Little Green by Tish Cohen. I got this at was it a Dollar Tree or a clearance rack? Most of these books I got in Florida when I was still living there. That's how long I've had them on my TBR. The only one I didn't have in Florida was the first one I showed you. And this one is about a couple that the wife is she's a professional horse rider. She is trying to get into the Olympics, and her husband have a daughter. He's trying to become a partner at a law firm, and they have a daughter, and they have this special parenting plan in place where he is the primary parent while she's out trying to make the Olympics. According to the synopsis, he decides that that no longer works for him, and it throws their marriage up in shambles. And so that's what this book is about, is them trying to fix their marriage. So I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence. It sounds like, well, I don't know if that's really my kind of book. I love reading about marriages and marriages that have issues. I don't think that we can ever learn enough about relationships and communication in life, because it's just the way that we are as humans. But one of my favorite books is The Orphan Train, and Christina Baker Klein, the one that wrote that book, she gives this book really high praise. And so that's part of why I wanted to at least try it. Then I have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I never got around to reading this, and there's not really a reason why. Maybe it's just because it's such a long book. It's over 700 pages. But this is about a boy who loses his mother. His dad doesn't have any interest in raising him, so he ends up being taken in by a wealthy family. This is a coming-of-age story about him and his life. The last one, it was my June of 2018 pick for Book of the Month, and I still have not read it. The Book of Essie. This one is about a girl whose dad is a preacher, and their family is on a reality show. And she's 17 years old, and she gets pregnant, which upsets the whole family. She finds out that she's pregnant, and this is not allowed, right? Not in a religious family, and she's a teenager. So she is trying to figure out if she wants to hide the pregnancy, and it starts bringing up a lot of questions for her about her family. And apparently her older sister left the family, and now she's wondering why. So I'm going to read the first chapter of each of these books, let you know my honest take, and we'll go from there. I just finished the first chapter of this book. I found it to be very witty and funny. Alanis finds out that her mom has been killed. She travels to the town that her mom was living in and meets with the lawyer who tells her what she's inherited, and she goes over to the Five and Dime store, and she's standing there looking across the street trying to decide what to do. Should she stay? Should she try to find out who killed her mom? Apparently her mom got killed in the store. There's another New Age store across the street, and this woman in the store is watching her, and she finally decides to go in there, and she's looking around, and the woman asks her if she wants to have a tarot reading done, and she says yes. So she gets a reading done, and the reading basically tells her that she's lost someone and she's going to be finding out a bunch of new things, and there's new love coming in her life, and it's time to step outside of herself and really experience life in ways that she hasn't before. She doesn't tell the woman who she is. She asked her a couple of questions about her mom or about the store across the street, but they're not really answered. The woman keeps kind of avoiding her. So she leaves, and she's just standing there looking at the store trying to decide if she should go in or not. It's been closed because her mom got killed in there. And that's the end of the first chapter. When she was doing the reading, it was kind of neat because they showed the spread and they showed the cards and what the woman was saying beneath each card, which I thought was kind of fun. And then the beginning of each chapter has the back of a tarot deck and then a tarot card with some information about the card. So it's kind of fun. Just to give you a sample of the author's writing, I thought it might be kind of fun to read you a short excerpt from each of these books. I don't have any cats either. They remind me too much of my mother. Beautiful, finicky, aloof, and you're the one who always has to clean up their crap. So I think this book has promise. I think it's a fun read. I think I would be interested in reading more. Okay, I just read The Goldfinch, and I didn't read the first chapter. I read the first 3 chapters. One thing about this book, the sentences are very long and artistic, and the chapters are very short. So if I just read the first chapter, I only would have gone 7 pages into the book. I wanted to go about 20. So the protagonist, Theo, is in Amsterdam in a hotel room that he's been in for days, and he appears to be hiding. He goes downstairs to pick up some newspapers, and he brings them upstairs to his room to check and see if he is in them because of a predicament that he has just found himself in. And while there's a bunch of information, he can't read it because it's not in English, but there's no photos of him. So he thinks maybe they won't be able to find him. So I'm not sure what he did. I'll find out. Then he goes on for the next 2 chapters to go into feeling like it's his fault that his mother passed away when he was younger, and he's going through some memories of before her death. To give you a little bit of a feel for the writing, I'm going to read this excerpt just on page 6. Outside, sleet tapped at the window panes and drizzled over the canal. And though the brocades were rich and the carpet was soft, still the winter light carried a chilly tone of 1943, privation and austerities, weak tea without sugar, and hungry to bed. Her writing is very beautiful, somewhat poetic. I think this has the feel of maybe being a book that would be a book that I really love and cherish. The next book that I read the prologue and first chapter of Little Green. And this is Marty here saying hi, showing you his butt. Turn you so you can look at him if you want. So the prologue is about, oh, and he's already gone. Okay. Elise, when she was pregnant and struggling with deciding what to do because she wanted to keep riding her horse, and her husband had made her promise that she would stop riding her horse in the 3rd trimester. So she ends up going to the stables. She just cannot resist being there. And there's a bunch of teenage girls there, and one of them asks her to get up on the horse to take a picture of her with her pregnant belly. She thinks it'd be really cute. And she gets up there, and it mentions that a dog came running over, and I'm assuming something bad happened. But then in the first chapter, it skips forward, I'd say about 8 years. And now she's heading home. She hasn't been home in months. She's been off training with her horse riding, and she meets a woman who's a mother, and it turns out her daughter had passed away. And so she's talking to her about how difficult that must have been. And she keeps thinking about how difficult it is trying to decide between her career and her child. And I think it's kind of a foreshadowing thing with the woman talking about her daughter dying. It's probably kind of trying to hint to her that that's important or more important than her career. It kind of felt like A Christmas Carol, where this book is probably going to force her into thinking about what's really important and that kind of stuff. And I can see the value in such a book. I think a lot of parents struggle with that, and a lot of married people with kids probably struggle with that. Because I'm not a parent and I'm never going to be a parent, this is really a subject that I find no value in for me personally. And I don't really have any interest in reading a whole book about it. If it was just a little bit about the kid, that'd be fine. But it's so mother-centric that I'm kind of not into that, to be honest. I just have no interest in reading about motherhood to that degree. And struggling with motherhood, too. I don't have any interest in that either. On top of it, I'm not very interested in reading about equestrian life either. So this whole book just doesn't really feel like my thing. It might be a very good book. It's just not for me. So I think I'm going to donate this book. Okay, so I am back. I've got Zelda here with me now. I read the introduction and the first chapter of this book. I don't know that I would really call it a memoir. It's more, Diane is talking about beauty and what beauty is, and aging and what it means. And I'm assuming if I keep reading, it'll talk about how to accept aging and how to accept maybe not being everyone's ideal of beauty. She does have a sentence in here that I really liked. Let's see, where is it? I respect women who aren't afraid to push the envelope. Women who are inappropriate. Women who do what you aren't supposed to. Amen. I agree with that. But I don't know that this is the book for me, because I don't really care about beauty in the way that a lot of women do. Most days I look like I do right now, with no makeup and my hair just thrown back. I put very little effort into my looks. I think if women want to do their hair and their makeup, more power to them. But that is just not something I'm interested in or really care about. And so I'm not real concerned with whether or not I'm beautiful or whether or not the world thinks I am, or I'm not trying to accept not being prettier than I am, or anything like that. And then as far as aging goes, I'm at the point in my life where I guess I just don't really care about that either. I wake up every morning and I think, wow, I'm 45, and how many people didn't make it to this age? How many people didn't get to live as many days as I have? And how fortunate am I to be here? And how lucky am I not just to be here at my age? Every day is another day that a lot of people haven't been able to live that long for various reasons, and, you know, in history. And I'm so lucky and spoiled too. I'm sitting here talking to you on the internet, meaning I have internet. I'm recording on a smartphone. I'm in an air-conditioned house in a nice neighborhood. I've got a fat cat on my lap. I'm so lucky. So I just don't really care if I look older than I did 5 years ago. Now, I also don't care that I am older than I was 5 years ago. I know a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on aging and how terrible it is, but I just don't mind it. So, will I always feel this way? I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind at some point. Maybe I will care. So, I'm curious. What do you think? Should I keep this book in case the day comes that I do care about aging or beauty and then read it? Or should I let the book go? I read the first chapter of the book of Essie. And, well, let's make it, this is what it looked like when I read it. Because I always like to read my hardback books naked. I don't like to have the cover on them. And I just love this color. This cinnamon color with this pretty ecru with the little speckles in it. Isn't that just a beautiful book? It's getting me in the mood for fall, which I already told you I'm really in the mood for. And I noticed I had the book of the month bookmark in here that was definitely from this book because it has the date on it. That's the thing about books. They let you travel without moving your feet. Isn't that the truth? So in this chapter, Essie is sitting on a dryer and she's leaned against the wall trying to listen to the conversation on the other side of the wall being had about her future. With her family being on this reality show that they've been on for a long time. It's her mother, I guess kind of like a nanny woman, and then the producers of the show that are deciding her future for her, which is a horrifying thought. And it sounds like, so they're trying to decide she could either have an abortion, she could go away for a while and have the baby and put it up for adoption, or she could just have a really quick wedding. Now she's 17, so that seems a little... But then again, we're talking about a really religious family, so maybe in that religion it's normal. I'm not sure. But they are talking about making her get married and then the baby being born early, you know, kind of thing. So acting like she got pregnant on the honeymoon or something. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh. And they're not revealing who the father is, but the hints are that it's probably someone shocking, which just freaks me out even more because it's probably like maybe not even a consensual situation. And I don't know if this is supposed to be a thriller or not, but already I'm kind of like, it's just the thought of it. From the time I was a pretty small child, and this is going to sound kind of funny, but I hated being a child in the sense that I wanted my independence. I've always been just a very independent person. And the thought of other people making decisions for me, especially life-altering decisions, is horrifying. I've just never been able to stomach that. So, which then gets me thinking about being a woman in some other countries, or being a woman in the past would have really not been for me. I would have really struggled because I am so independent. I want so much to be my own person and do my own thing. And unless I had had a husband like I do who embraces that, I would have been miserable back in other eras, or maybe even now in a different country. Ooh. I mean, just being somebody who's just naturally so independent. That was me, though. I started walking at a young age. I think my mom said I was potty trained really early. Like, I just wanted to do my own thing. I didn't want assistance. So this book, I think, would be another one that I would enjoy reading. I don't want to read these two. This one I'm going to donate. I want your opinion on if I should donate this or hold on to it in case I suddenly start caring about beauty or aging in the future. I don't know, though. If I still don't care about that stuff at 45, am I ever going to? So I want to know if you think during my staycation, should I read the Book of Essie, the Goldfinch, or the White Magic 5 and Dime? Also, let me know if you've read any of these books or if you want to read any of these books. Also, let me know if you like this format. Do you like the try a chapter videos? And if you do, since I'm not doing TBR videos in the near future, are you kind of into the idea of me doing one of these every month instead? I mean, that could be kind of fun, right? Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Happy reading. Bye.